I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Welcome to Flint Town. 810, Flint Town. Flint City G. Flint Town. Flint Town.
Hello, my name is Antwain Kirkland. I'm from Flint, Michigan, and I'm a musician. My first time playing the instrument was when I was in the 5th grade. We had this music class, and basically we started off just reading music and singing along with the sing-alongs. You know, when you're growing up, you got stuff like Barney and stuff like that. You sing along with the Barney people and the kids, and you know, you sing them fun, cool little songs. So we had a music class at my elementary school at Brownell, and one day this guy came in, and he's a new up-and-coming music director, and he had a whole bunch of instruments, and they wanted to expose our kids to instruments or whatever. So he brought all these different types of instruments in, and all the kids was excited, but we didn't really know exactly what the instruments was. We just knew that they was, you know, something fun to do. So he brought in some drums, and you know, he brought in the trumpet and the saxophone, and you know, all the kids, we wanted to play with the loudest thing, which was the drums or whatever. So everybody started picking up the drums and stuff like that. Well, I also wanted to play the drums, but it wasn't enough instruments for everybody. So I'm like, well, what else could I play? Because I don't know, I never knew what a saxophone was, or a trumpet, or none of that stuff. So the director, you know, he looked at me, he saw that I wanted to play the drums, but he was like, well, all I have left is a trumpet and a saxophone. So I looked at the saxophone, it got a whole bunch of buttons on it, and the trumpet, it had like 3 buttons on it. So I'm like, I want to play the instrument with all the buttons on it. So, you know, he set up the saxophone for me, and he put the mouthpiece on, and you know, that's when I started playing saxophone. My passion came about at a very young age. After I started, you know, playing around with the saxophone, when I first started playing around, my parents, which I was fortunate enough to have, parents that's seen the passion for what I wanted to do with the music and everything. And I was very fortunate enough to have good parents that invested in me. And they so happened to work with a guy that played saxophone, and they built a friendship with him, and they found out and asked him, did he give saxophone lessons? So he said he did. So they told me, they asked me, you know, if this was what I really wanted to do, you know, did I want to take lessons? And I was like, well, yeah, you know. So they ended up setting me up with this guy by the name of Zach Hill, which is my biggest mentor, and the one that really taught me how to play saxophone and took my playing to the next level. He started giving me lessons for about a year. He took me under his wing. He took me to his church to play, and he took me to his house, and he gave me some practice routines to practice on, and that's just how my passion for music started. You know, my parents gave me lessons. And after the lessons, you know, I believe this is what I wanted to do. So that's my passion for music. The challenges that I had when I was being a musician coming up was I had to practice a lot. Literally, I practiced like 6 hours a day, maybe 7 hours a day. And like any normal kid growing up, you know, you want to go out and play with the kids, you know, play basketball, play sports all the time. But, you know, being a musician, and, you know, I have to be well aware of my health and, you know, my fingers and stuff like that, because if you play basketball and sports like that, you know, you can get out and get hurt. You know, you can't, you know, play, your fingers be messed up and all that stuff. So my parents was, you know, they was lenient because they knew I was a kid. You know, they knew I still liked the sports and stuff like that, but they was real strict on me staying and practicing. So it got to a point one time where I just felt like, you know, I'm tired of practicing every day. You know, I want to get out and play with the rest of the kids, and maybe I just want to do something else. You know, so I pulled my parents to the side. You know, I was kind of upset, crying and stuff like that. Like, you know, I just don't want to do music no more. But if it wasn't for them, you know, if it wasn't for my mom and my dad pushing me to say, well, you know, you came this far, you know, you've been working so hard and you're real good at what you do, I just can't allow you to stop playing. And just by that, you know, I just kept pushing forward because, you know, I had that support. You know, you always want somebody to support you, you know, everything that you do. So I seen that this is what they really, you know, felt like this is what I could do. So they pushed me to overcome, you know, because it was plenty times where I just gave up and, you know, wanted to do something else. And, you know, my attention span wasn't, you know, as much as on music as I thought I was when I was a little kid as I am now. And I'm very thankful now that, you know, my parents kept and pushed me to do what I do today, because I'm successful at what I do today just because of them. The type of feeling that I get when I'm playing my instruments, you know, every day is different emotions. You have different emotions every day, you know. Some days you may wake up and have a good day and be happy and stuff like that, or, you know, something else may come up where you may be feeling sad and stuff like that. But every single time I touch my instrument, you know, all the things that I went through and that I'm going through that may be tough in my life, you know, it just goes away. That passion for that, when I play, it's like, you know, I'm giving out all my emotions, you know. I'm happy, you know, and if I'm sad, you know, I play, the music just pours through me. You know, sometimes when I feel like I want to cry, you know, I may pick up my saxophone and play instead of crying. You know what I'm saying? I just play through my instrument, my emotions or whatever. And the other thing that I get, other feelings that I get when I play is when I'm playing and I see somebody in the audience, you know, may look like they down and out, but when they hear the music come through me and I see a smile come up on their face, you know, it gives me hope and joy that, you know, that what I'm doing is actually touching somebody's heart. And one of the best feelings that I do get is when, you know, after I get through playing and I get so many people come up to me and be like, you know, that really touched me. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, I was having a bad day until I came and I heard you play, you know, and it just changed my whole day. You know, it just made me feel good. So to know that all the hard work that I did from me coming up until now, that I could just touch somebody's heart, is the only type of feeling that I love to, you know, have when I'm playing. You know, not only touch my heart, but touch other people's heart as well. Well, there's no greater feeling than to have your family be your biggest supporter. You know, because a lot of kids growing up nowadays where they don't even have a family. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a support system. But, you know, just to see my mother, my dad, and my sisters and all my family, they was my number one. They was my first fans, you know, because, you know, I started off playing in the church and, you know, I wasn't really that good. And, you know, I was born in a church of family. My whole church basically was my family or whatever. And, you know, they gave me encouraging words, you know, they motivated me. Sometimes I got criticized, you know what I'm saying, which is good, where I can get both ends of the stick, you know, before I get out there in the real world and, you know, deal with other people that's not in my family that may like my music, that may not like my music. But just to know that, you know, I got family that really actually stands behind me is, you know, a great feeling. And it's definitely one of the high points of, you know, my career, you know, just having that big support system. Being Flint, being born and raised in Flint, you know, you hear a lot of negative things about Flint, Michigan, and, you know, how tough it is and stuff like that. Flint has actually definitely influenced my playing because, you know, Flint they can be very supportive, and they can be, you know, not supportive. You know, I haven't had all the support all my life. You know what I'm saying? Like when I do a lot of promotions and stuff like that, and tell people, you know, to come out and support, you know, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes, you know, they'll talk about you and say, well, you ain't really doing nothing like that, you know, until they see you somewhere else doing something where, you know, you've been doing this all your life in Flint, you know, and when they see you out doing it in other states and, you know, seeing people appreciate you more, you know, then that's when they want to come and, you know, give you even more support then. But, you know, I got best of both worlds living in Flint. You know, I've got the negative side and the people that don't support you, and then I got the, you know, the positive side where people actually really is, you know, behind you and whatever you do. So, you know, Flint has tremendously influenced my career and my, you know, what I do as far as music. So, you know, it helped me both positive and negative. My mindset is, you know, you have to have a mindset for this type of stuff, because in Flint, you know, it's very easily to be influenced by your peers and by all the negativity that's going on. But me, you know, I have a mindset as I'm not gonna be involved in no stuff like that. I always want to have a positive, you know, outlook on everything. You know, I don't want to get involved in the people that, you know, rob, kill, and steal and stuff like that. I wake up every day of just thinking about what I can do positively, you know. When I wake up, you know, I think about what can I do to make my day or make someone else's day go by good, you know, because there's always negativity going around. You always, every time you look on the news, there's somebody being shot and killed, and, you know, kids just they just disobeying their parents and, you know, doing their own thing. But, you know, I try to stay away from that. I just think positive thoughts, think positive things, and, you know, I want to hang around positive people. So, you know, I choose to. It's just a mindset. You know, my mindset is just to remain positive in spite of all the negative things that's going on. It's just the feeling of excitement and you know, just like I said earlier, just making people feel what I work so hard to do. You know, I've grown up playing and learning and putting in so many hours a day where, you know, I literally wake up, go to school, you know, and then come home and get started on music, and just knowing that what I worked hard for and all the practice that I put in don't go into vain. Just, you know, just having people coming up to me and telling me how good I sound and, you know, how good the music just made them feel, that's just the most important thing about playing music to me is, you know, putting in the hard work and actually, you know, seeing my results in people's eyes and, you know, making people feel good. So that's the thing that I like about the music. To young people within whatever you do, you know, whether it's music or, you know, want to be a doctor or want to be a basketball player, you know, if it's your passion, I say, you know, go at it 100%. You know, it's gonna be times where, you know, you feel like you can give up, or, you know, you feel like it's not for you. But I was told by a sister of mine from another mother who group I play for, called Mama Soul and the Nuts, which stands for New Under the Sun. She says, you know, if you wake up every morning with the vision of, you know, whatever it is you want to do, it's like what I do, music. So if I wake up every morning, you know, and music is on my mind, then, you know, that's what you was born to do. You know what I'm saying? If you wake up wanting to be a doctor, you know, and that's the only thing that's on your mind when you first wake up, you know, then that's what you want to be. You want to be a doctor. You go full 100% at whatever it is you do. You know, don't ever give up your passion. You know, you might have some setbacks where, you know, but just don't ever give up. You know, people might think you crazy for wanting to do your dreams. You want to have a passion at what you do. People might think you crazy for wanting to do it, but literally, if you wake up every day, every morning with that on your mind, pursue it and do it. You know, don't ever let nobody tell you that you can't do nothing, because, you know, it's always going to be somebody negative trying to tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that. But, you know, if it's what you love to do, just do it.